Marysville. Welcome to Charter Chat, a student-run talk show where we interview members of the community. I'm here with Marta Murvosh, teen librarian at the Sno-Isle Library here in Marysville. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you doing today?
Good. Yeah. So, you're in the library now. What kind of got you interested in reading and books and stuff when you were younger?
Well, I mean, I can't remember not reading. Obviously, well, I mean, like a lot of parents, my parents read to me. Books were always in the house. My dad was a scientist, and reading and education were very important in my family. And one of the things about a library is it's a place where you can have lifelong learning, no matter your age, whether you're a little wee one or whether you're, you know, an adult learning more about your career, or you're retired, or you're a teenager.
It's interesting that your dad was a scientist, because my dad, he was raised by a pharmacist and a nurse, so they always had a ton of science books, like a whole encyclopedia for research and stuff. 'Cause before computers, you had to have everything on hand. So.
Yeah. No, my dad was an entomologist. He studied insects and taught at a university.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. He's got a couple bugs named after him.
Oh,
so.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So, what kind of genres did you like growing up? Was it more fantasy or science fiction? Or
I love mystery and I love speculative fiction, so science fiction and fantasy predominantly, though I do enjoy magical realism and a little bit of horror. But I read pretty much everything now, though I still love, I mean, my go-tos or personal go-tos are always mystery, science fiction, fantasy. You know, I love really good literary nonfiction. Matter of fact, I brought one too. If you want to hear it.
So what kind of series did you really notice yourself getting into? What authors did you get excited about when you were younger?
So I think probably, I mean, when you say younger, I'm assuming as a teenager. And one of the things is the library I grew up with had a young adult section, but it was predominantly, it wasn't like the teen section is now. So it was predominantly a lot of paperback books. There were some books that you would probably still find in the school library or that might be required reading.
Like classics and stuff.
Yeah, more like the Pigmen, some of the stuff that now we would consider classics, but were kind of edgy in the 1970s and 80s. But a lot of science fiction, that was in the heyday of the DAW paperback, where they were $1.95 and they're about this thick, and so libraries could really afford to buy them. And I mean, actually to this day, I still have a little warm spot in my heart whenever I see the yellow spine of a DAW paperback, because some of my favorite writers, C.J. Cherry, who lives in Spokane, is one of them, and Ursula Le Guin. I think probably the book that made a huge difference for me was a novella, The Word for World is Forest by Ursula Le Guin. And at the time it was quite controversial. Well, maybe not so much in the 80s, but at the time that it come out, because it was using science fiction to talk about issues that were going on in Vietnam and things like that.
Yeah, it is interesting how they kind of tap at certain issues in a more fantasy lens to kind of interpret it differently.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things about fiction is it's a great way to talk about things that maybe people aren't always comfortable about talking about without having a metaphor to be able to have those conversations. And you know, that's one of the things that the public library is really good at, is you can find something for everybody there. You know, whether it's a community conversation or a conversation you want to have or experience you want to have yourself, either with technology or with a book or a DVD or an audio book or CDs, or we also have electronic downloadable music. And so when I was a kid, it was just LP records in the library, and now there's CDs and electronic music that you can download. There's actually we have a digital service called Freegal where you can download 3 songs a week and keep them. I could say in perpetuity, but it's probably as long as your electronic device stays up to date. So,
that's very cool. So, what kind of dreams did you have growing up that were either inspired by the books you read or just kind of the people around you?
Oh, you mean like having a dragon?
or just what you wanted to do?
Gosh. You know, I mean, one of the things that I think is really cool about fiction is it lets you know that there's like an amazing possibilities. And while, you know, in the speculative fiction world, you may not be able to go to Mars because nobody's been able to go to Mars yet. You can dream about having adventure. And I think that's what's a lot of fun about fiction is you can transport yourself into another world and basically have an adventure, get a different perspective that's different from your own experience, you know. And there's really well-written nonfiction that also can put you in the heads of other people, other perspectives, as well as perspectives that you enjoy. So, there's some adventures, I think.
What kind of led you down the path of going into libraries and stuff? Did you like volunteer as a kid growing up? Or?
Well, I actually did volunteer when I was in middle school. I helped prepare stuff for story time. And then my sister also volunteered, and we actually shelved periodicals. This was back in the day when libraries would keep the periodicals behind the counter. And so you'd have like maybe 5 years of back issues, and now most of that's digital. Now we keep magazines out where you can check them out, but now pretty much everything's digital. Of course, there's microfilm for newspapers, but now you can actually access it from the comfort of your house with the internet computer or one of the Chromebooks that you have for school. Just need a library card.
I remember, like elementary school, I'd kind of just volunteer in the library because I was new to the district, so I'm like, need something to do, so just shelving with a friend was good.
Well, I actually, being a librarian was not my first career. I went into newspapers, I did page layout, and then I was a journalist for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And I still occasionally freelance for a couple of trade publications.
That's cool.
But I switched to library science. It's been almost 6 years now.
6 years.
Yeah.
It's good to have like both perspectives of just like the writing and then being able to help people find stuff as well.
Well, for me, it's the research. I really enjoy the research. I really enjoy the discovery process. I love writing, but man, when you find out something cool, that's just this eureka moment. And that's one of the things that is fun about being at the library is that you can also help other people discover and have that eureka moment when they get really excited about discovering something new.
Yeah, you know, people like with research papers, or probably even some people doing their doctorates and their dissertations and stuff.
We have a few graduate students who will use us to supplement the academic library. Typically, we'll get them when they kind of first come in with their first research paper, and typically they're returning students. They're maybe in their 40s, and they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't done research since the days of microfiche. Please help me. And then we get them started, and for that kind of higher level of research, you want an academic library is the way to go. We get a lot of people who are at community college, high school and middle school students, elementary students. We'll also get people who are researching stuff like maybe they've had a medical diagnosis of, say, you know, a serious health issue in their family, either for themselves or a loved one. They'll want to know more about it. They also may want to know like practical things. For instance, if you've been diagnosed with a heart condition or diabetes, you want to know how to cook for yourself that's going to be healthier. We'll also have people who are wanting to do maybe some in-depth research on a topic they're really, really interested in. Because, you know, even after high school, we still have, or even college, we still are into interesting things. Sometimes people will come wanting to know, you know, they're raising kids and they want to have some books on parenting. So everything for everyone. It really runs the gamut. So, but you know, it's like helping people with those eureka moments is what's a lot of fun.
I remember like just like with research papers, like finding like the more like academic like research paper section of the library search was a different world for me. Just kind of.
Oh, it's amazing what's in there. I mean, our digital, the access that we have, databases are what we librarians refer to, where you have the digital versions of academic articles or popular magazine articles, and you know, if you were to print all that out, it'd be bigger than our building.
Yeah.
It'd probably be bigger than all 4 of the high schools.
Yeah.
Probably we'd have to put Marysville-Pilchuck in there, and it just would be amazing, all that paper. So
Yeah, it's definitely better to have like PDFs now where you can access it much more easily. I mean, still like access probably isn't what it could be. There's still a lot of things where it's not.
well, it's getting better. I mean, it's there's companies that what they do is they digitize information that people want. They approach the publishers of journals, and they form business relationships, and then they provide access, and then we pay that fee. So our library patrons don't have to. Then it's free. And so more and more is becoming available. You know, the federal government has actually historic information at thomas.gov and different places that go back to the founding of the country. So I mean, it's amazing what's out there. It's not everything, but it's a lot.
I was kind of thinking of like some issues like a couple of years back where people were trying to publish like academic papers, but they weren't going through the exact channels that the companies wanted to, and they were getting imprisoned.
So open source.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of, I mean, that's not something that I'm involved with.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that issue. You know, there's the idea of like open source, not open source, but like open academic publications. You know, is a complex one. You know, there's the idea of, hey, research should be free, but then there's the problem of who maintains it after the people who publish it have like left their graduate program. You know, does the university pay to keep those servers up? Who does the metadata? And it, you know, it's a complex issue, and I don't know if there's any clear-cut answers on it. I think each publication has to come up with what works for them. So
it's definitely like a different world from just the journal articles of 40 years ago.
Well, and if you're really interested in that, I'm not sure how much the general audience in Marysville is interested in that, but if you're really interested in that, come to the library and I'll dig up stuff for you on it.
All right, sounds great.
Yeah, because there are some really interesting things, but I don't know how much everybody out in Marysville is that into it.
Well, I'd love to talk more to you. We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
Here's a segment of a little parody of a show that some of you might be familiar with. Seen if it.
All right.
I'm exhausted. Are we there yet?
Don't be dramatic. We're almost there, Ryan.
And where are we anyways?
What's the sitch, Wyatt? Where are we going now?
Dr. Drogo is planning to shut down the school with chaos. Your mission is to find all of his disruptor machines and remove them before everything falls apart.
Honey, it's time to come up for breakfast.
Mom, I'm working on an important mission.
The only mission you have is to listen to your mother before you regret it. Up.
Go, Wyatt. It's no big. You ready to go, Ryan?
Yeah, I guess.
Wait, stop. Do you see that? It looks like one of Dr. Drogo's disruptor machines on the bridge. We need to grab it before it tears the whole thing apart.
That doesn't look too dangerous. I got this. I got this. Whoa, whoa, that's wobbly.
I told you it was weight triggered. If only we had something small to go and retrieve it.
Remy's pretty small.
That's a great idea. Go, Remy, and get the machine.
You can do it, little buddy.
Oops.
Good job, little buddy. Come here.
We can't relax just yet. We still have to disable the machine. Wyatt, how the heck do we disable this thing?
Very careful. Use your pliers to grab the yellow wire and move it next to the blue wire. Alright? You need to tie those two together. Snow. Strip the wires and put them together, okay? Okay. And once you have that, attach the red and green wires to that part that you just put together. No, strip them first. Okay. Now it should be rewired, right?
We did it.
Good morning, Marysville. Welcome back to Charter Chat. My name is Amelia, and I'm here with Marta Murvosh, a teen librarian at Sno-Isle Libraries here in Marysville. Now, there's an event coming up tomorrow, Blackout Beat for teens. Could you go a little bit into that?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things happening this week. First off, it's National Library Week. And so tomorrow at 3:30 to 4:30, we're doing Blackout Beat, which is, and it's also Poetry Month. And so with Blackout Beat, you take a piece of newspaper or a magazine, you circle the words you want to keep, and then you take a Sharpie and blacken everything out. So you can either create like a rap, you know, nonsense words, a poem. It's really creative, it's a lot of fun, and hey, how often do you get to scribble across something with a Sharpie and not get in trouble for it? So.
That kind of reminds me of those like little magnet kits too that you can get kind of for poetry and stuff.
Exactly. Actually, one of the things that the Teen Advisory Group is trying to do is we're going to create our own magnet, except it'll be sticky tape for the teen area, so people can play with poetry in the teen area. The other thing is, if you are interested in volunteering for the library, come to Blackout Beat, because you can meet some of the other members of the Teen Advisory Group. And those are the teens who help me plan events. For instance, this summer we're going to be having a robotics rally again, and so we'll be the Teen Advisory Group will be helping plan that, as well as other summer events.
Oh, that's cool.
And then on Saturday, we are having Tech Fest. And this is basically a celebration of technology and creativity and collaboration using technology. One of the things that's going to be really exciting about this Saturday is we're going to have it in our Creative Tech Center, and we're going to be focusing on photography and images. So if you want to get a headshot for social media, we'll have a photographer there who's going to be doing it. They'll be pretty professional, so dress nice. We'll also have a digital photo lab where we demonstrate how to edit photos in GIMP. For some people this may come naturally, but not for everybody. And we have GIMP on our PCs. We also have Photoshop and the Adobe Creative Suite on our iMacs in the Creative Tech Center. We'll have a gadget gallery where you can try out gadgets. And then there's also going to be a session from 1 to 2:30 at Tech Fest on Saturday called Crowdsourcing, How to Fund Your Project. And the Tech Fest, I forgot to say, is from 1 to 4 this Saturday. That's the 16th.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of like kind of career skills that people could gain, and just kind of like an introduction to all these different kinds of fields that they can get into. Definitely.
Exactly. Well, and one of the fun things about the Creative Tech Center is you can come in, you can move chairs around. There's like movable whiteboards. We have students from the community college will come in and do projects. They'll write all over the whiteboards. They'll like make a little office for themselves. You can check out laptops for use in the library. We have scanners. We have you can digitize a VCR tape to a DVD. That's really time consuming, so you want to plan ahead on that one. But we have all sorts of fun technology that can help you either transfer something from one format to another. Additionally, we have ongoing classes with basic computer skills, or taking it to a higher level, like how to use Photoshop to get the red eyes out of your family photos, how to use a scanner to maybe scan photos so you can share, non-digital photos with the rest of the family, or maybe you have a project and you want to be able to put it together in Dreamweaver and build a website. So we have a lot of different ongoing services and resources. We also have Book a Librarian, so you can get a one-on-one, maybe learn about our grant. We have a grant network for applying for grants, how to use basic computer skills, maybe how to lay out a brochure, things like that.
So it definitely seems like these events that you have coming up are a great way to like kind of introduce people to resources at the library that they didn't realize were there, certainly.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and actually some of the teens from the Teen Advisory Group are going to be volunteering at
great.
Tech Fest. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember like with the whiteboards, I've used those like studying with friends and stuff, trying to
Oh,
lay
yeah.
everything out like for statistics and stuff.
It makes a huge difference, and we also have like boxes of markers and other things, scissors, so that if you want to just drag your project in, spread it out, you know, work on it, finish up. We try to make it easy. We try to make it flexible. The space is first come, first serve, but and then we're always there to answer questions like, you know, how to use the copy machine to scan documents, or you know, whatever.
You definitely have everything that people could need just for like, either homework or just personal projects or everything.
Yeah, we try to do that. And we have a color printer. Printing's free if you have a library card. For black and white color, there is a small charge for it.
So, yeah, with National Library Week, I'm sure you're also taking advantage of a lot of like opportunities to kind of like help grow the library even more. I'm sure like it started out, like it's changed so much recently. Like what kind of changes have you seen, like just from?
Well, I mean, the Creative Tech Center was added to the library in 2013. The building used to be city-owned, and Sno-Isle itself took over the building, I want to say, about a year ago. So that's kind of a change in who owns the building. We've got some changes, we've got some new things coming up this summer. And we're going to be having summer reading. We're going to be approaching that a little differently with the ability to share experiences through our website. Right now we have the ability to share book reviews, and so one of our plans is to be able to share your summer experience. You know, if you go to the beach and you want to write about it. That's still in the works. Hopefully know for sure by the beginning of June. We've got, we're always adding more items. This isn't necessarily new in the last 5 years, but I think it's something that people don't always realize, is that you can check out audiobooks and you can download them to your phone. And this, for instance,
in the basement. Over the next 2.5 years, the tape machines picked up nearly.
It's very, you have everything for everyone too. Just like people who would want to sit down with a book, just like throw it in their car while they're driving and stuff.
And this is an audiobook. You probably can't see it, but it's about Daniel Ellsberg. It's called Most Dangerous. It's a great nonfiction book about a time when classified documents were leaked to the New York Times, called the Pentagon Papers, and landmark court decisions happened. It's a very exciting time in our country.
And very like relevant to like the Panama Papers just coming
Yeah,
out recently.
I
too.
know. I was actually thinking, this is a good one to bring.
I mean, it's definitely like growing like from that to like 11 million documents now. It's definitely-
Well, and one of the things to think about is in this book, which is it's called Most Dangerous. It focuses on Daniel Ellsberg, but it's they also talk about what the New York Times did. It's by Steve Schenken, and there were literally thousands of papers in the Pentagon Papers, the McNamara report in Vietnam, and basically the New York Times rented a suite of hotel rooms and had secretaries and journalists pouring through these physical documents. And now with the Panama Papers, they were going through them digitally, but it was still across, with that, was many news organizations were involved with this. But with this one, it was just the New York Times, and secrecy was of the utmost, as was with the Panama Papers.
Definitely. We'd love to talk more with you, but we're just going to take another quick short break, so we'll be right back, Mary, so enjoy.
And there I was, running away from the man that was trying to kill me. 3 days since I've been running from him. I don't know where I am. I'm lost in this forest. Nowhere to go. What's that I hear? Are those my woodland friends?
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. Sorry about that, Marysville. Some technical issues. We're back again with Marta Murvosh. My name is Amelia. We're here with, she's a teen librarian at Sno-Isle. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of like what the library has gone through like over the years and how the library has like helped the community and vice versa. So what do you think the library like needs most like right now, do you think?
So I guess that, you know, maybe the really thing to say is that maybe the community isn't always aware of everything we offer. You know, one of the things that I think about is even though the recession's technically over, there's still a lot of people in the community who are feeling that impact. And we, you know, can help people with their job search in the sense of we have resume builders on our website. We have links to, we have databases for searching for jobs. We have things like helping people format a resume. We can put them in touch with books. We can also help them get connected with other community services. You know, the same thing goes in terms of like helping students with homework. We've got through the teen webpage, we have a new Sno-Isle Teens page. There's always been a page for homework resources on there, but we've put up a little easier to find, made it so you can find the online tutoring easier. It's called Help Now. If you need any help finding it, you can always click on Ask Us, Tell Us, or call us, and we can help you find it. But there's tutors that are there 7 days a week from 1 to 10, and it's free. All you need is a library card. So regardless of what grade you're in, what subject it is, you can get help through that. We've got different skill builders using our website, as well as, you know, the traditional books and things like that. And so, you know, as the community's coming out of a tough economic time, we can help people with the rest of those stumbling blocks that might be in their way. Especially because, you know, we've got wireless internet that even if the library's closed, you can sit in the parking lot with your laptop and use it 24/7. And we're not going to bother you about that. We're like, hey, use our wireless.
I definitely like you have open doors for a lot of different kinds of people in the community that need certain help and resources that they couldn't get anywhere else, or that would be charged for a lot more everywhere else.
Well, and sometimes, you know, if somebody's going through a tough time because of you know, you know, had a job layoff or whatever, you know, one of the first things when you make cutbacks is you say, oh gosh, we can't afford that cable and that internet, and so the library's there. I think that you know, I also think that sometimes people don't realize that the library's there for them. It's like a lot of times people go to high school and they go to college and then they forget about the library because they've got a job, they buy books, they, you know, use the internet at home, but they forget about the library until they have kids, and then they come to story time and then they realize, wow, I could get electronic books. Wow, you've got the latest bestsellers, there's DVDs, you know, and they, you know, so it's I mean, even though maybe some people you can afford to buy your own CDs or downloadable music or DVDs, you know, you can come to the library and check out the album and decide, do you want to buy it? You know, so it's for
definitely
everybody.
like a better middle ground than like piracy or something like that, certainly.
Yeah. We definitely do not approve of copyright violation at the library. We're all about supporting that, you know, artist rights and writers' rights.
So could you like describe a moment that you think makes you like most proud to be a librarian? Like what?
Oh gosh, there's so many. You know, usually there's something that happens during the week. You know, there's I'm not the first to call it the good book sound. I've heard people who really love genres will call something the good book sound. There's a sound people make when they have that eureka aha moment, and it's like, oh, you know, and just when you get them a book and you say, here's what you're looking for, you know, and they're just like, oh, wow, I didn't know this was here. It just makes you feel really good inside that you were able to connect somebody with that, whether it's a book or whether it's information. Sometimes people come in, they're at a really tough point in their life, they're really stressed, maybe they've had a family member die and they're the ones who are handling the estate. and you can get them a book on like how to deal with that. You can, they're stressed about taxes and they have no idea what form to file, and you can show them how to figure that out for themselves. And then they're like, oh, I thought it was going to be so horribly hard. You made it easy. That's what makes a difference.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds like you really, like, you end up knowing the community really well and like needs and struggles of everyone and everything.
Well, we try.
Yeah. So what kind of organizations and groups like helped you kind of achieve this?
You mean transitioning to librarianship?
Or just helping the library kind of serve the community better.
Yeah. So one of the things that we do is we're really, really fortunate at the Marysville Library that we have the Jellerson Memorial Foundation, which has helped fund summer reading, has helped fund some equipment purchases. It funds our Tween Tuesdays, which is most Tuesdays during the school year from 4:30 to 5:30. We serve fourth grade and up, but it's usually about 4th to 7th graders. That's funded with Jellerson. The books that we give away in the summer for summer reading are funded by the Rotary Club. The Sno-Isle Foundation, which is a nonprofit fundraising arm of Sno-Isle Libraries, has funded different programs. There's some, we had the TEDx last year, and we're planning that for this year. I forgot to tell you about that. And that, that's not, Marysville Library supports that, but it's planned at the higher level at Sno-Isle Libraries Service Center. And all the people who come and speak from that are community members. And then, of course, the community comes and watches it, so there's this great conversation and interaction. We've had Humanities Washington has provided us speakers, which they basically pay the speaker's fee. So, there's a whole bunch of different nonprofits or groups that are fundraising groups that support the community, that support the library. And I think that these are good relationships for us to have.
Yeah, definitely. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Well, come to the library, come up to the desk, ask us for help, challenge us to find a book that you like. Because you might think, they can't find me a book, but we can. Or a movie or music.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for coming
You're
with
welcome.
us. Thank you for being with us, Marysville. Have a good rest of your day.